As it became clear that Germany was losing World War II, some of the German generals made a decision to try to eliminate what they saw as the major roadblock to victory, and that was Adolf Hitler. Hitler was no stranger to assassination plots. There are as many as 16 formal plots for his assassination that are discussed in the history books. But we want to look today at um, the one that came the closest to working. It was um, a plot referred to as Operation Valkyrie. Now, the Valkyrie were mythical um, warriors. If you've seen the Thor movies, right um, the from past history, and so that's where the operation is going to get its name. The guy that's going to become most closely associated with this, and if you get interested in this, there's a really good film. Tom Cruise plays this guy in the film, and it's called Valkyrie, and it's very much a political thriller. A lot of this is happening kind of behind the scenes as these guys plot. Obviously, this wasn't something that you could do out in the open, and so, um, like I said, just a really interesting film. It's referred to then as the July 20th plot. The guy that's going to carry it out or kind of lead the effort is Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg. Stauffenberg had been in the German military. Um, he had served in places. This is a picture of him before he goes to serve in Africa. After he fights in Africa, he's badly wounded in battle, loses one arm, loses an eye, and he's brought back to Germany. As he's convalescing, he's brought in with this other group of people who have become convinced that Hitler has to be taken out. He's thinking he's a military genius. He's not. His behavior is becoming erratic, and the officers here are wondering, is he going to bring about the destruction of Germany? So what can we do to stop that? The plot's supposed to take place at the Wolf's Lair. This was a retreat where Hitler would go have meetings, and really it was kind of the ideal place to do this. What the idea was, Stauffenberg was going to be invited. He was going to plant a briefcase filled with some early plastic explosive um, at the table near Hitler, and then he was going to make an excuse and leave before the bomb went off. The main building at the Wolf Slayer was a concrete reinforced building. It's supposed to be able to survive bombings. Well, if it'll keep bombs out, it'll keep bombs in. And so the idea was that the explosion would kill everybody in the room. A couple of things that they had to take care of. First, one is, um, obviously getting the plan together. But then, what happens um, when Hitler's gone? If this is successful, what does that look like? And the main group they were worried about was this elite group of kind of bodyguards um, called the SS, and these were people who pledged devotion to Adolf Hitler. The SS are fairly notorious for the way they acted during World War II, for for being very brutal, but for being fiercely loyal to what Adolf Hitler was trying to do. So if he gets killed, there was worry also that they're going to try to take over, that there would be violence. Maybe you get somebody installed that's just as bad. And so that's the other thing they had to consider in this July 20th plot. They've got to figure out, okay, how do we um, take out Hitler, but also pin in the SS so they can't grab power. So that was a part of it, and it involved mobilizing the German military and doing that sort of thing. Now, what's going to happen? And I've got a couple of cool videos on the playlist of this. But what's going to happen is Stauffenberg is to a point successful. When he comes to the meeting, though, it's July 20th. It's very hot. So his first issue is going to be, instead of holding meeting in this concrete reinforced bunker. They hold it in a wood bungalow that sits outside where they could open windows and let air through. Well, those same windows are going to keep that blast from doing the job they wanted it to do. Here's a picture of the aftermath. That's Hitler and Mussolini examining the aftermath of this plot. Here are Hitler's pants from the plot. He ends up having a badly wounded arm. It has an arm in a sling for a little while, but that's really all he's going to be dealing with. Stauffenberg and anybody they could find are rounded up, and instead of being heroes, they're summarily executed for their part in this plot. And so this is the closest they came to being able to do that. But like I said, if you're interested, that movie is a really good one. The end of Hitler actually doesn't come by anybody else's hand, it comes from his own hand. During the Battle of Berlin in 1945, as Soviet forces surround the city, Hitler becomes terrified that he's going to be captured by the Soviets. Rather than do that, he's in an underground bunker. Rather than do that, he marries his longtime girlfriend, Eva Braun, and they both take poison, and he ends up shooting himself. The United States never sees Hitler's body because the Soviets had gotten to Berlin first. They find it and take his body, and there are all kinds of wild rumors about what happens with his body, which ends up leading to thoughts that he didn't die, that he'd escaped, or things there. I've got one of the photos that they gave us after the fact, the Soviets did, to prove that Hitler was dead, but it leads to all kinds of kind of wild conspiracy theories. I've got a couple of videos on the playlist from people that were right outside the room when it happened, though, saying that that was Hitler did commit suicide. That was how he met his end. Once he does that, it's the 1st of May in 1945, and then Germany will very quickly surrender, and World War II in Europe will be over.